Hello everyone. Today we will see how we can handle multiple environments using Playwright. So first let's see what we have in the Playwright documentation, right? So open Playwright documentation. The URL is playwright.dev and navigate to docs section. And then if you see on the left hand side there is a option called parameterized test. Click on that. Once you click on that, uh, if you see on the right hand side there is a section called .env files, right? So click on that as well. So once you click on that, the documentation will load for that, like how we can set up and handle multiple environments, right? So it is very simple and pretty straightforward. Here they are providing commands depending upon what platform we are working on. Also, they are suggesting us to use this file format, .env file format, and this is a library we have to install um, to work with the multiple environments, because .env is a library which is from Node.js, and it is very small and powerful. Basically, it will loads environment data whatever we provide in the .env. In simple words, .env library will read the .env files and capture the information, and it will pass that information to process.env. As simple as that. Like I can say like this is process.env. See, let me explain a bit of code here. So what they are trying to suggest here is, so they are asking us to follow this naming convention to create a files, and then this library we have to use, right? So here they are importing the .env and a path. So why? Because as I said, to read .env files, we need to provide a path to .env, right? So there is a method available in .env library, so which we can use, and on in the method we can pass the path of the environment files where we create in the project, right? It could be a root folder, it could be any subfolder, right? So that path we can provide here. See, it is very simple and two lines of code. First we have to install, and then we have to import the package, then the path we have to import to access the path. So .env.config is a method where it will read the .env files depending upon the path we provide. Simple, right? So let's see like how we can implement this, and we'll see how we can set up this environment as well. Okay, let me open my project. So let's install package first, .env library. To install that, this is a command npm install .env. Yeah, once the installation is completed, the package entry will be available in package.json. If you open package.json, here you can see there is a entry called .env. So this means the package was installed successfully, right? So also, if you don't understand this framework, so please revisit my playlist so that you can get an idea, because I don't want to again explain all these things, right? So it may time consuming here, so that's why. So once we install the .env, so create files now, as they suggested. They have suggested like we need to follow a naming convention like .env, right? Sorry, .env. So anyway, this we have already installed. So we need to create files now, and then we need to follow this coding here. So let me do that. Let me create a folder called env and folder called data, so, because I want to explain how we can handle data depends upon different environment specific to environment that we are working, I mean to say, right? So I will try to show both environment and data. So let's see now. So in environment, we can create like .env dot prod. Okay. So normally if in real time scenarios, we may have to work with production environment, we may have to work with QA environment, we may have to work with staging environment, right? So that's why we need to, it would be always better to maintain proper naming convention while creating this files. Okay. So let me create it for QA as well. And then for staging also we can create a .env dot staging. So paste any sample data here. Okay. Uh, what happened? This is not saved properly. Yeah, I think there is a typo, that's why. So no worries. So paste any dummy data here. So data, I have it handy, so I will paste some dummy data. Give me a minute. Any sample data, it's not something that you have to follow what I'm doing here. Any sample data that you can paste. This is prod. Similarly for QA, replace prod with QA. I'm just replacing it because while executing it would be a very clear in manner so that we can understand easily. Let me save it. And similarly for staging. Just give stage instead of staging. That would be fine. That's it. We can close this now. We have changed all the data according to the environment. So let me create a data files now under the data prod -data .json. Similarly QA-data .json. Similarly for stage. Okay, and for data also you can paste any random data. So data is also, like, for me it is handy. So I'm just pasting the existing data. For QA, paste it and change it to prod to QA. Replace all. And similarly for staging. Done. Now we can close this. And now what they are suggesting us to do is, like, we have to use this code in Playwright config.ts, right? So just copy all the code here and open the Playwright config.ts, and before define config, paste it. And what path we have to pass here? So we have to pass .env. This is under .env folder, sorry, env folder, right? So we have to pass like ./env slash .env, and we have to inject environment variable here. For example, const env equals to process.env. This should be QA by default. So if you don't select, it means if you don't select any environment, it will simply pick up QA as an environment, right? So here we need to inject that environment. Let me manipulate the string. So you know, right, how we can manipulate the string. We just have to pass env here. This is called string interpretation. So just that you have to use backticks. Inside that you have to pass the path, and after that you can inject the environment variable by applying string interpretation, right? So for that we have to use the syntax dollar curly braces. Within the curly braces we have to pass env. That's it. So why I'm passing env here, because so we have created a environment files in a way that .env.prod, .env.qa, .env dot staging, right? So when we assign this env to qa, the qa will come here and append to this string, which means .env.qa, which means this file. So this file data will load and execute, as simple as that. Okay. One more thing I have to do. Yeah, we want to read data as well, right? So for example, let me open base test. So again, do not get confused here. So let me import the file to read. Uh, just a minute. We have to use this import fs file system because we want to read the JSON file path as well, right? So if now we have to read the const JSON data path, I can say, and then use process dot env dot JSON underscore data path. Okay, I will tell you where this JSON data path will come from, and then simply you can pass this to. So what exactly we are doing here is, if we see in the data in the env files, we are passing data file path here. Right now it is in src, but I created the data files in root itself. Let me remove, right, src for all. So similarly for staging, yeah, that's it. So this is, see, we are maintaining data file path here, and in the base test I'm reading this path, and reading means I'm getting this path, and with the help of this path I will read the JSON file. How we can read the JSON file in TypeScript? It is very simple. We just have to const test data JSON dot parse. Yeah, it is already giving me a suggestion. This could be colon any, since it is a TypeScript, right? So you can pass any type, that should accept and it will work. So test data is ready now. So we need to, I wanted to share this test data through fixtures. How we can create a fixtures? I think I've already covered it. If you are not aware of it, please revisit my playlist. Now let's see how we can create a test data fixture here. It is very simple. You just have to create a instance variable here, and then type of that instance variable is test data, which is referring to this variable, and we just have to pass the test data variable colon test data, which is referring to again this variable, right? So it is very simple. So if we no need to pass test data using use function to the context, because by this time test data is already been loaded to this variable. Why? Because Playwright config file is the file which execute first before all other files. So it means already we are loading all the environment files here, which means the data is being available already here. So we no need to pass through the use method. We can simply pass test data like this, and which is available in test. So let's create one simple test file, whether we can able to access multiple environments or not. Under the test, create a sample test, any test. I will name it as env.spec.ts, and it's created. Now add any sample test code. So right now I'm having some dummy code. I will add that. So in your case also just add it to test that. Do not worry, I will explain how it will work. I'm just importing, as we know that I've already explained a base test, how fixtures work. So I am importing test from base test, and this is a process.env to capture the environment flag which we're going to assign, and that I'm storing it in env. That env I'm using here for base URL, and also for test data I'm using test data variable which we created in the fixtures in a base test file, right? So simply add the test data variable in fixture and the error will gone, right? So now try to execute this. What will happen? See, for example, by default we have, if you don't provide any environment, it will pick up QA, right? This QA will go to here. This like as I said earlier, we manipulated this string path. So this QA will go here and it will pick up the QA environment details. So let's try to execute that. I did not, I don't want to set any env flag. I will simply execute env.spec.ts file. Let's see what will happen. So it is running one test. See, by default it is printing prod details. Why? Because I think the environment is being set to prod earlier when I did a what I can say, when I did a sample runs. So let me again set it back to QA $env colon env equals to QA. If you can see here, I'm setting an environment in PowerShell as they suggested here, right? So in PowerShell, we have to set environment like that. If you remember this, right? So see here, this is a PowerShell and these are the commands. For bash, we have a different commands, and for PowerShell, we have a different commands. Similarly, since I'm using PowerShell, so I'm setting it like this. See, now the environment is set to QA. If I execute now, it will print, it should print QA data. Let's verify that. See, now we are getting a QA data. So here I'm not doing anything in a real-time scenario. I'm just printing it. So in real time, you can use some methods to navigate and click by using some data and all, right? So to make it simple, I did not make it made it too much complicated code here, because If I made a too much complicated code, you may confuse, right? So similarly, you can set, say, for prod as well. If you set environment as prod, and then if you run it, what will happen? It will pick up the prod data, as simple as that. Similarly for staging, if you see now we are getting a prod data. Similarly for staging, if you set a staging, now run it, see, we are getting a staging data, right? So this is one way of doing. In other way, we can add this environment flag in the uh, you know um, in package.json as well. How? Like it's very simple. We just have to add a cross env. This is a syntax you have to remember for command cross env, which means we are saying that we are working with multiple environments, and the environment equals to env equals to, you can set it as qa or prod, right? And copy this command and go to package.json. From here also you can open it, and under the scripts, right, just test prod. Since we have enabled the flag for prod, right? See, this is for prod. Similarly, you can have it for test. Just copy paste this. Similarly, you can have test, sorry, QA and stage and prod, right? So remove this comma at the end, and also this we have to change. QA for QA, staging for stage. Now if you run this command, so from here also you can run this command. It is very easy to understand, right? So we have test QA, test stage, and test prod. If I clear the terminal now, so if you see here, when I run, just a minute, when I run test QA, just a minute, sorry, it's my bad. Now just try to run it again. Yeah, see, there is a typo in the command, so I have fixed it. See, now it's working fine. If I run for, see, if you see, when I run for QA, it went and execute scripts for QA environment, and when I run for staging, it will be same for staging as well. Here you can see, similarly for prod. See here. So this is how the multiple environments are being handled using Playwright. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.